All right, good morning and welcome to another Friday morning safety meeting, the first of the year. It's a Friday, believe it or not a Tuesday right now. Feels like we've had Monday, Tuesday, Friday. Everything's been all wacky the last couple weeks, so it'll be nice to actually get into a normal rhythm next week.
Yeah.
So this week's code item of the week is to strive to maintain a positive and professional image at ECI to our employees, our clients, vendors, subcontractors, and the public. Mr. Dow.
Yeah. So, I got a question for you, Tom. What determines our reputation? What's a good one?
Our image and
Our
our
image.
actions.
What determines that?
Our actions.
Yep. And our reputation is actually based on the perception of others. So, for us to have pride in what we do, we have the ultimate power to advance our reputation in either direction at any time based on our outward demeanor, which is kind of a cool thing. We have a lot of power there. The only thing is when we're going in the wrong direction, everyone always likes the drama when we create our reputation going in the wrong direction. It's harder to overcome that. So I like this code item. It's a good one.
Thank you, Ben. All right, we are 92 days without a recordable injury, 10 days without a first aid injury, and 13 days without a vehicle incident. I think that's the best our numbers have looked in quite a while, so let's keep it up in the new year. So today we're going to talk about biohazards, and we're specifically going to talk about bloodborne pathogens. It's one that has a lot of pictures that kind of help you follow along. Standing near a tablet, if you could kind of move towards the tablet so you can see the pictures this morning. We're going to start with some definitions, though. So a biohazard is a risk to human health or the environment arising from biological work, especially with microorganisms. And bloodborne pathogens are infectious microorganisms in human blood that can cause disease in humans. These pathogens include Hep B, Hep C, and HIV. Basically, it's anything that's carried in the blood that can make another person sick. So examples of hazards in this realm are blood, used needles, used first aid equipment, anything that has blood on it at any time. And bloodborne pathogens can survive for up to 2 months on needles, but the risk goes down significantly after the first couple hours. And I'll add on to that, things like HIV are only transmissible for a very short window, and things like Hep C last a lot longer in blood. How you can be exposed. Exposure occurs anytime that foreign body makes it into your body. So anywhere that anything comes out of your body, whether it's blood, urine, spit, whatever, uh, then blood can get in and enter your bloodstream and get to your soft tissues. Uh, One that we're really going to focus on today is needle sticks, but other common ones are contact with eyes, contact with any cuts in the skin, contact with any hole in your body. Any blood, despite Hep B, Hep C, or HIV status, is considered to be an exposure, but when you just have blood on intact skin, it's not generally considered an exposure. How to protect yourself, avoid needle sticks, and we'll talk about that more in a little bit. You want to make sure you wear your proper PPE whenever you're handling any biohazards, doing first aid, or picking up needles. You want to dispose all those biohazards appropriately. You want to wash your hands after you're done. That's kind of important. And ask for consultation or assistance whenever needed. So general cleanup. So this is anything that doesn't have sharps. So let's say somebody cuts themselves really bad and there's a whole bunch of blood. You want to wear rubber gloves to clean it up. You want to put the waste in biohazard bags, clean everything up with bleach, and then contact us for disposal. If you don't have a special biohazard bag, use a trash bag, label it well, and then we'll move it into a biohazard bag as soon as feasible. Then we're going to get into needle cleanup. This especially applies to the Champlain Parkway job coming up, but we've found them in vehicles that have been stolen and stuff like that in the past, and we've found them on multiple jobs. So we'll talk about kind of the common needle types. This is where the pictures come in handy. So on the left side of the screen, you see the ones with the orange caps, and the needle fixed. It's a very small needle that's fixed directly to the syringe. The syringe is the plastic part, and the needle is the sharp part. Those are the most common ones used for illicit drug use, and the most common ones used by the general public for medical use as well. So the thing about those is that the orange caps, what can happen, people recap them, and the needle can actually stick through the cap if the needle's bent. So the needle's very small, and it can also bend back when they cap them. The next one is a little less common, but can still be out on the streets. That's an intermuscular injecting needle. So it's a little longer, a little bit bigger. The big hazard with that is that it can fish hook back towards the barrel of the syringe. Then we have the less common ones that you're going to find. You have IV needles, which will self-retract, or you retract them for them most of the time. And then you have self-retracting needles, which are not super common in this day and age since COVID. So the parts of the syringe and needle, the syringe is the plastic part, the needle is the rest of it that would stick on there. So you have the plunger, the barrel, the hub, and the needle. And the hub is part of the needle and the plunger is part of the syringe. So whenever you're handling needles, you want to use proper tools and PPE. The most preferred thing to use are needle stick gloves. If you don't have those, use cut resistant gloves with the heavy rubber gloves over the top. We have them, and we have more of them coming for the gloves. So if you need them, just ask. The other thing that works great is trash pickers, because you don't have to directly touch them. You can also use shovels, tools, whatever you have on hand. Pliers work well as well. So as a company, we're kind of held to a higher standard than the general public for how we dispose of biohazards and sharps. And you'll notice I'm using sharps and needles interchangeably, and that's something to keep in mind. So first thing you have are your portable. These hold probably 10 to 12. You want to put them in face down. There's a little button on the side to open them up. There's a fill line. You don't want to overflow them. And before you disposal, you want to set the final seal by pushing it down hard and out. You'll kind of see there's directions on the bin for it. You want to dispose of these properly. If you have a larger sharps container, you can toss it in there or talk to Matt or myself, and we can facilitate getting rid of that. We have kind of stationary ones. Once again, don't overfill. Before you dispose of it, you want to set the final seal. We'll dispose of it, and you never want to reach into these containers. So it doesn't really matter what you drop in there. You don't want to get it out. You can do makeshift ones, like if we prefer that people don't use it, but obviously there's going to be situations where that arise where it's necessary. If you're doing this and somebody, drives by your house and chucks a needle into your yard and you want to clean it up before the kids get to it, you can take an empty Tide jug, just tape it off, get rid of all the labels, say do not recycle, and chuck it in your trash. We're held to a higher standard than that, and that comes from the state. But then for us being a company, we have to dispose of stuff properly. But its use for us is not preferred, but you want to empty the container prior. You must delabel, then properly label it. So sharps, biohazard, and do not recycle on it. And then you always want to insert the needles facing down. Don't overfill it. And you want to seal a cap with duct tape. Then just contact Matt or myself, and we will come out and dispose of it properly. So when it comes to handling of sharps, you want to use the same old verbiage as using a gun, right? Treat every weapon as if it were loaded. So if a needle's been sitting out there for a year at the Champlain Parkway and you get stuck with it, is it gonna cause you to get sick? Probably not, but you still want to assume that somebody was using it 10 minutes ago, right? And also assume that any place that you touch it that's incorrect is going to stick you. Bring the sharps container to where you're picking up the needles. You don't want to be carrying needles around. You want to use tools to pick up needles whenever possible. So whether it's pliers, trash pickers, whatever. Wear your proper PPE. Once you pick up a sharp, you don't want to put it down unless it's into the sharps container that you're using. You only pick up needles that are by themselves and on flat surfaces. So if it's in a pile of needles, you want to use a trash picker or something, or use a shovel to kind of spread them out. So never recap a needle, which I don't think anybody's going to be trying to recap needles here. Review ECI procedure on sharps handling prior to handling them. So The guys headed to Champlain Parkway will be getting an email today with the procedure for that. And you want to wash your hands after, even if you're wearing gloves. So anytime you're picking up a sharp, hopefully it's attached to the syringe. And what you want to do is you want to pick it up about 3/4 of the way towards the plunger of, so grab it on the barrel where you see the little arrow, and that's where you want to hold it. If you have straight needle and it's just a needle, you want to pick it up by the hub, and you want to be extremely careful while doing that. And in case you do get exposed, first thing you want to do is stay calm. Like I said, most needle sticks are benign, but you just want to do diligence to make sure that you're not going to get sick. If possible, you want to put the contaminated object into its own container and kind of keep it with you. Remove PPE and wash the area. So if you get stuck in your finger, you take your PPE off, you'd wash it really good with soap and water, and then you want to contact us. If you're exposed, frequent blood testing is often required. I've been stuck twice, and both times I got 12 blood draws over 6 months. So it's not very fun if you do get stuck, especially if you don't like needles, because that means you get 13 needle sticks, right? So, and then you may need antivirals. They make you feel really gross, but it gives you some peace of mind. So that wraps up my end of things. I'm going to stop sharing.
Okay. Yeah, the reality is, dude, there's a lot of this stuff out there now.
Absolutely.
And you find them down in the storm drains, and then also in the sewer systems when we work in Burlington sometimes. I guess it's more common than it used to be in the old days now.
Yep, they're everywhere.
Just gotta get this working here. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Okay. So biohazards, and we just went through that. Happy New Year. 25 is going to be safe and prosperous. We're going to work together to make it happen. Thought that'd be a good thing to start off with. Have a positive attitude at the beginning here is going to be a good way to get a good start. So Wednesday was the New Year's Day holiday. So make sure that we put our time in. That'd be job 14, overhead 14, and 8 hours of holiday pay for Wednesday for all full-time active employees. The 401k deferrals, since it's a new year, it's a good time to update your 401k contributions. It's a lot better to put a little bit in throughout the year in different market conditions than to wait till the end. Right now, the limit for this year for everyone is $23,500. It's a lot, but remember that's before tax. If you're over 50, the catch up is another $7,500 on top of that. And for some of us lucky people that'll be between 60 and 63 at year end, there is a bonus for those years of adding 11,250 in lieu of the 7,500. So it's meant for people that are in that age group to try to get a little bit more horsepower in their 401k. So that's kind of cool. So if anyone has questions about what they're putting in, talk to Aaron Marco or Melanie Bennett up front. They can help you with it, or also you can log in to your census account. If you don't know how to do that, they'll help you. So saving for the future is going to be is a good thing to think about this time of year. Okay, the 2024 giving results. So thank everyone for your generosity this year. We had a goal of $30,000, and ECI employees donated $31,123 this year, which is really cool. It was all through. There's a lot of cash, and then there was a lot of ATO. It was split that will be split 4 ways, so that'd be $7,780.75. And checks are going out to Make-A-Wish, Camp Tecumseh, the Classic Mike Lawyer Foundation, and the Vermont National Guard Charitable Foundation. On top of Make-A-Wish's $77.80, they're also going to receive this year another $11,824.31, and that's from our clothing sales throughout the year. So they'll have a check of like $19,000 that we're going to present to them in the next coming week. And plus another donation we're going to make is $500 from our October clothing sales, because October is Breast Awareness Month, and we're going to donate that to the UVM Medical Center Foundation Center for the cancer patient support. So that's kind of cool. So thanks to everyone who donated. It's kind of it makes a statement to everyone, and it also adds to our reputation, because the perception of others when they see this stuff, it's kind of cool. Let's see, representatives. Yeah, so representatives from those charities are going to be joining us in the coming weeks. I'm not sure who we'll have next week, but we'll try to get one per week for the next 4 weeks. The links for the primary wellness program, I think we have 30 some odd in there right now, according to Beth. I talked to her last night. I urge anyone to get started early, get in there, especially when times are slow, and join the primary care wellness. Also, if you're struggling, or if you have any issues in your household, the employee assistance program is still available to everyone. And the brochure, there's a link to the brochure, their number, and it's all confidential. Okay, project of the week, Mr. Heath.
Good morning.
I'll let you take it away. You want me to drive?
No, I just took control.
Okay, good.
Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to talk about the Hogback Road Multi-Plate Culvert Project, which was in the town of Cambridge. Engineers Construction Incorporated was hired by the town of Cambridge to replace an existing 11-foot by 7.5-foot corrugated galvanized metal squash pipe with a new multi-plate culvert bridge system on Hogback Road. The new culvert bridge system has a clear span of 28 feet, a clear rise of 8 feet, and is bottomless. A bottomless system is supported by foundations so that the river system runs seamlessly through.
Whoop, you still there, Heath? We lost you. Your mic is off.
That's weird. Can you hear me now?
It's back now. Yeah.
Where did I lose you?
Seamlessly.
Okay. Seamlessly through the culvert bridge system. So a bottomless culvert or a bridge is a bridge that, doesn't have a bottom to it like a traditional culvert does. So they want the river to run through it for aquatic organism passage and let the river do its thing without being restricted. ECI used a combination of sheet piling and 4-foot diameter bypass pipe installation to reroute the river system off alignment so that the 22-foot deep excavation to the bottom of subgrade of the pour-in-place concrete footings could be installed. ECI used Contex Express footings for the footing wall formwork, which allowed the forms to be sacrificed in place, limiting the amount of time that the footings were exposed to the risk of flood damage and the amount of time needed to maintain the dewatering infrastructure. The top of the concrete foundation system was designed a couple feet below the river bottom elevation. Typically, the top of the foundation wall is designed above the water level. This created constructability challenges on the project as we needed to maintain off-alignment bypass systems until the entire culvert bridge system was constructed and backfilled. The multi-plate system was installed by a subsidiary of Contec with support from ECI personnel and equipment. So here is the cross-section of this bridge system. Now, what I was talking about here was the top of this little foundation wall was a couple of feet below the river at bottom elevation. So we were constantly underwater on this project, even when we were setting this arch. Typically, they set these top of these concrete walls above the river system so that you're out of the water once you've got your foundations done. This is an image of ECI setting our dewatering system. So we used sheet piling to divert the river into a 4-foot diameter culvert that went around our work site. And we also put a weir in the sheet piling so that if during a flood, the water had a place to go that was, known by us and controlled by us. This is another image of us setting the sheet piling diversion system. There's Jerry Lafreniere up on the man basket. These are the express foundations that we purchased from Context. So these are quite expensive, but this allows you to pour all of your concrete for the project in the foundation all at once without having, and then just leaving it in place, and you're not having to strip the forms or anything. So it gives you the opportunity to backfill a lot sooner, which decreases our risk, as I mentioned in the narrative. This is a great image of our concrete team helping us pour this foundation system. So as I mentioned before, this is a bottomless system. So there's nothing in the middle of this culvert. That's just plain earth and stone, which eventually gets filled up with like a larger 2 to 3 foot diameter stone. You can just about see the 4 foot culvert pipe, bypass pipe that we had put in, and you can see some straps holding it up. This was, there was not a lot of room. Sometimes the design engineers don't consider things like dewatering, and there just isn't a lot of space on these projects. So we push this stuff out as far as we can. And when we got here, we wished we had pushed it farther. Yeah. Here's a cool image of us setting the stone inside of the bottomless structure. So you can see on both sides, you've got the concrete stem wall sticking up. We rented a long reach excavator to install this stone from the top of our slope. We've got Paul Saber and Alan Nutting, and I think Josh DeRushy down here helping to strip all the remaining wood forming that was inside the little groove here where the arch plate sits. And that was a real struggle, actually, to get that wood out. Here is a really cool image that shows both the dewatering system. So here's the sheet piling that diverted the river into a pipe that went around our site. And this is ECI assisting Context subsidiary company to bolt this whole thing up. So we paid Context to come and bolt this thing together for us, but we were there assisting them, giving them support with both manpower and equipment. Here we are cleaning up the job site. I think that's Paul Saber, and again, putting the finishing touches up on top of the ground, and the river's back into the culvert. And the wing walls are also made of this aluminum. It's a pretty cool little system. It went together well, and I think that the town was pretty happy with the end product. It's a much bigger opening than what they had before, which is one of the goals of the project. And then finally, here's a picture of our paving team coming out and making it look great and paving the road over the top for us. And then I'll continue to drive, Dal, but why don't we talk about this archive photo?
Yeah, that's the Dorset Street culvert 2002. That's right down at Dorset Street, just before you go under the interstate. Pretty cool. That was all one piece, and we didn't have cranes on that one. We used excavators. But this is a cool picture because it makes you wonder how the heck we got that thing stuffed down in there underneath all those utilities with the straps holding them up. And one of them's a gas line. So that was an interesting job. Pretty cool. Okay, turn it back to the safety guys.
All right, have a great day. Have a safe day. If you watched in a group setting, please send us over attendance this morning. Otherwise, you'll be getting a text from me. So enjoy your first weekend of the new year.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.